After having all of the issues with my Mercedes Vario air brake system, I've decided to install an air pressure gauge up on the dashboard so that I can see exactly what the compressor's doing and how much air we've got in the tanks. I'm not sure why the Varios didn't come with that as standard, or the 612D model didn't come with that as standard. While I was working on the system, I also discovered that I had a few air leaks, so we'll be sorting those out as well. So we have a nice sealed system. Our compressor has got a dedicated power supply now. I showed you how to do that in the last video or a few videos ago. It's quite nerve-wracking to think that, you know, if you get an air leak and your compressor stops working, then your brakes will come on wherever the hell you are. That could be on the motorway, it could be in the middle of a town somewhere, and I really don't want that to happen. I found this air pressure gauge on Temu, I think it was, or one of those. I'll put a link in the description to it if it's any good. And this will have the air pressure display for 2 sensors. It comes with the sensors here. They've got 1/8 NPT fittings, so I had to get an adapter to go into the van's tank, so I got one of these. Again, I'll put links in the description below. So that's got a M12 1.5 pitch thread, so that's going to go on there. And then I also got one of these, which is a brand new pressure switch, 5.5 bar, to go on my secondary tank, because I found in the last video that it was leaking around here. You can get them from Mercedes, but they're about £100 million, so I got this one from the internet. It's slightly different because it has a male fitting on it, whereas the one on my van actually has a female fitting. To get over that, I've got a straight through adapter piece as well, so that's going to go on there. That's going to go on there. That sensor will go in there, and then that will go on the van. And I've also got another one of these fittings ordered up to go on the other tank as well. Before I install this on the van, I'm just going to check to make sure it works on the bench. I don't want to run all the cables in and then realise that it doesn't actually work. I got a white display, but you can get blue or red. Let's connect up one of our sensors. So that's going to be for tank 1, and then this will be for the secondary tank. I'm just going to blow into this sensor and see that we get a reading on there. Yeah, that's working. I've just put a little bit of red tape on there so we know this is for tank 1. I'm going to mount this little screen up here. It comes with a little sticky back pad, so we're going to put it on there, and then I'm going to notch out a little groove in this corner to run the cables through into the back of the dash. But first, let's feed this up through here. And then we're going to feed that through the dash to up there. There it is. Let's run the cables back to the tanks, following the wires that are already in the van down there. Just got this little hook to hook my plugs through. There it is. Just draining the air out of the tanks so I can then remove this switch here, which does the light on the dashboard, the low pressure light. And then I've got a new switch for it. I believe this one's 5.8 bar and this is 5.5. And then once all the air is drained out, I can attempt to remove this fitting here. I then get my new pressure switch, and I'm going to be using copper sealing washers to join these pieces together and make an airtight seal. So I put one on there. I then get the joining piece, which is going to have our 1/8 MPT sensor in it. So let's screw that one onto our switch, tighten that up, and then another copper sealing washer. And then we can take the coupling piece, which will turn the male thread into a female connection that can be screwed onto the van's tank. I've put a little bit of PTFE on there just to seal up the threads. I also put a small amount of PTFE on the sensor threads just to stop it leaking, and then screw it into the fitting. I'm just going to nip that up a little bit. That's good. I've got that one, sealing washer, that one, sealing washer, bit of PTFE in there, PTFE on that one, that shouldn't leak. I need to extend those wires because it only got to there. To extend the cable, I just use a little bit of 3-core flex. It doesn't have to be very thick because it is only sensor wires, and if you compare it to the factory wiring, it's really thin gauge wire. I use a few of these solder shrink tubes just to join the wires together. It's really quick and easy to do it this way. If you've never used this stuff before, I'd highly recommend giving it a go. It's basically a heat shrink tube which has got a small ring of solder inside of it, so when you melt it you can either use a lighter or a heat gun to melt it down. It melts the solder, joining the cable together, and then the heat shrink also shrinks down, making a nice waterproof casing for your joint, and then you can just put a final layer of heat shrink over the top of your connections. And now you have a strong waterproof connection that looks almost factory. I haven't shown you wiring this up because I basically showed you on the bench earlier, but black goes to ground and the red one goes to an ignition live. So when you turn the ignition on, the screen powers up. And I install the other sensor on the primary tank. First of all, I remove that test point, and then I put a bit of PTFE on this fitting here. And then this one will go on here. PTFE on the sensor, and then that will screw in there. Inside this fitting, it's actually got a little copper sealing face. You can't see it, so I won't need any PTFE for that, and that can just screw straight on there. Rotate it round a little bit so that the sensor's tucked out of the way. Alright, let's start it up and see how it goes. We've got our display there, it's reading 0 psi in both tanks, and we've got our light up on the dashboard. So let's start her up. That light should go out at 5.5 bar because that's what the new switch is that we put on. That glow plug light should go out in a moment. Could be the reason why it's a little bit smoky still. So 126 psi, the overflow valve must open, and now it's starting to fill the second tank. And on the second tank we've got our pressure switch, so this should go out soon once this gets up to pressure. 5.5 bar. There we go. So that light went off at about 80 psi on the second tank. I'm not sure what the cutout pressure is. 160 psi. Surely that's enough air. Why isn't the compressor stopping? That must be up to pressure now, surely. Oh my God, it's gonna blow up. I'm gonna have to turn this off. 100, right, that's not right. That shouldn't be getting up to 190 PSI. So it's reading on the dash there, we've got 184 PSI in the tanks. That's too much, and my compressor isn't turning off now. It seems we may have another issue. That's leaking from in there. But yeah, little tiny leaks like that all add up. We want this to be a nice sealed system so that the compressor doesn't keep charging the tanks unnecessarily. I've just nipped that sensor up and it's not leaking now. That one just needed a little nip up and that's got it. I'm now going to spend a little bit of time just cable tying up these cables all the way down to the front of the van. This project really has been one step forward, two steps back since I got it, and now it's given me even more issues. So I've got my pressure gauge up on the dashboard, which is great. I've got a readout of how much air I have in the tanks, but now my compressor won't turn off. So I start the van up, the compressor's running, waiting for it to cut out, and it doesn't. But I haven't changed anything other than that switch on the secondary tank that could affect that. So I swapped the switch back to the old one and it's still doing it, so it can't be the switch. That makes me think that maybe it's the compressor cutout switch is faulty. So I phoned Mercedes up to find out the part number, what pressure rating it is. I believe it's 12 bar. And they wanted £100 million for a replacement one. They only had one in stock. And then I had a look on eBay and I found exactly the same part number. So I've ordered that one, it was much cheaper. And we'll see if that fixes the issue. My thinking is that if that switch is faulty and it's stuck in the normally closed position, once it's up to pressure, the switch isn't opening to turn the compressor off. But for now, I need to get my car ready because tomorrow night I'm getting the ferry over to France and then I'm driving up to the Netherlands to pick up a part for the truck. And I'm going to be stopping at Belgium and France on the way back. I'm making a trip out of it. Basically, the truck part I wanted to get for it, I can't find in this country for a reasonable price. And somebody let me know that they had one for sale in the Netherlands. So I'm going to go and buy that one. And it was cheaper for me to drive out there and pick it up myself than it was to pay for it to be shipped over to the UK. I'm going to be recording it as well, and that'll be in an upcoming video. So stay tuned. If you enjoy the content, please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and if you hit that alarm bell and set notifications to all, you'll be notified when I post new videos. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Wish me luck.